What's up, guys? Hexworks has been keeping up with their schedule, patching weekly as promised, and we're going to go over today's update. This week's patch is solely addressing performance. The highlights include AI adjustments to make some enemy actions more consistent and predictable, further refinements to ping and matchmaking for improved co-op sessions, and significant performance optimization across several areas of the game. Multiplayer, being the bane of this game since its inception, sees three specific fixes: adjusted matchmaking to be more flexible with ping requirements to allow for broader and quicker results, fixed an issue where an invading player could get blocked by praying enemies in Path of Devotion Memorial, and an issue that could occur when spectating the host in the Pieta boss encounter. This change to allow flexibility where ping is concerned when matching with a host is very welcome, because the biggest problem I've personally had with the PvP in this game is finding a connection. I have run into issues with rubber banding, but for the most part, once I do get connected in an invasion or with cooperation, either one, it's pretty seamless. It's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. But what makes it not fun is having to sit in a vestige and wait for a connection. Now that they have broadened and relaxed the ping requirements, maybe I'll be able to connect and I can actually get into the PvP a little bit more. I have been playing Elden Ring, which is another game where peer to peer is how you connect to the PvP. They have a little bit cleaner netcode. From Software has been around longer. They got a little bit more resources, but there's still issues, and when you're playing in a high ping PvP scenario, but their netcode does allow for it, and having a little more flexibility in this game might help to broaden the number of connections that you can make and the number of hosts that you could potentially play with. But if they don't get a hold of the PvP sooner rather than later, they're going to lose a large enough fan base to support PvP, because players have to be online in order to play PvP. And I think they should have just implemented the PvP later in the game's inception. Have the clean PvE that they originally introduced, and introduce the PvP later when the code is clean. But we're living in the world we're living in. That time has already passed. So if they can clean it up soon, they might not be hemorrhaging players like they are currently. The other part of this update I want to specifically address was the first one, the AI adjustments to make some enemy actions more consistent and predictable. And this is coming from SteamDB, so that you can better read and subsequently react to their movements for a more satisfying combat experience. I'm not sure exactly what part of the fan base was complaining about this, and I'm not sure that the AI adjustments need to be more consistent and more predictable, because as it stands now, they're overly predictable and overly telegraphed, in my opinion, especially in boss encounters. It's more like a turn-based game in that respect, because there's not a lot of dynamics, there's not a lot of reactions programmed into the AI, there's not a lot of different scenarios. It's almost one, two, three things happen in a predetermined pattern, and we don't get a lot of reaction, AoE baiting. You can't really bait out certain boss behaviors or enemy behaviors. Instead, you get the same predetermined list of behaviors, 1 2 3 1 2 3, and it's more turn based in that aspect. So I would prefer to see just more dynamics, have like bosses that have reaction, bosses that can be baited into specific behaviors. That way we have a more dynamic fight, and we're not just stuck doing a turn-based dance. Right now it's like a dance. So as I said, I don't know what part of the fan base was complaining about the enemy actions being not consistent or predictable enough, because that's exactly what I believe is the fundamental problem with the game, and the reason why it's a little too easy in the Souls-like genre is the consistency and over predictability of enemy behaviors. To go along with this improvement patch, they've also reported new content arriving soon. This is exactly verbatim what they said. We trust by now you have been fully indoctrinated by the way of the bucket. Released last week, this is the latest of a series of new quest lines arriving to Mornstead before the end of the year. And believe you us, there's plenty more to come as hinted at by our content roadmap. So I guess it's safe to say we're going to see a lot more quest lines and a lot more content coming out before the end of the year. I haven't played the bucket quest line yet, but this update, if it has improved PvP to the point that I can actually get matchups, I might jump on. But for right now, I'm enjoying my replay of Elden Ring for the umpteenth time, and I've got some more Armored Core 6 S ranks to get done. But Lords of the Fallen might be coming back into the repertoire soon. But that's it for now, guys. Please drop a like and a subscribe, and peace.